The OneFootball app has a brand new look, but all the same old features that are useful for an FPL manager. Get customized push notifications to receive team news, goal alerts, and more. Download it for free via the link in the description. We've got the game between Man City and Southampton still to come, but as of yet, a score of 58 points -4 has seen the smallest of green arrows, up to 12k. The decision to stick with Johnston in the end worked out. He ended up with 1 point more than Martinez, after making 5 saves in a goalless draw with Newcastle. It was good to see Walker Peters come straight back into the Southampton 11 for their 2-0 win over Sheffield United, after taking the leap of faith to start him ahead of Dallas. Cancelo losing the clean sheet in his first fixture wasn't such a big deal, considering a lot of managers have a double up on Man City defenders. But what was more of an issue is the fact that it was Bruno Fernandes who opened the scoring from the penalty spot in the opening 2 minutes. Selling the top scoring FPL asset rather than Salah proved especially costly, with the Egyptian failing to impress in a 1-0 defeat to Fulham. It was always a gamble, but I still think it was a reasonable decision in the circumstances. It just hasn't paid off, though De Bruyne could at least soften the blow with returns in his upcoming fixtures against Southampton and Fulham. The Belgian wasn't up to his usual standards in the Manchester derby, and gave the ball away far too often, but he still carved out 8 attempted assists, including a big chance created for Foden. The late decision to fund him with a move for Jesse Lingard somewhat worked out. He won a penalty, missed the penalty, scored the rebound, and then later got booked. But at least he's in place ready for blank Gameweek 29. It was a disappointing night for the Leeds assets, who promised so much but delivered very little. Between them, Rafinha and Bamford had 9 shots and 3 big chance involvements. And Harry Kane did what we all had hoped he'd do last game week, absolutely running riot against Crystal Palace, and playing a direct hand in all 4 goals. So let's take an early look at the transfer plans ahead of Friday's Gameweek 28 deadline. The midweek matches, not just between Man City and Southampton, but also in the Champions League and Europa League, will impact the transfer plans. So I'll try to just talk you through the various scenarios here, and then make a final decision closer to the deadline. When you take a gamble and it backfires, it's instantly tempting to just reverse the move. So bringing Bruno Fernandes straight back in is certainly an option to consider. It was always the plan to get him back by Gameweek 30, and ideally I'd still like to give Salah one final game against Wolves before selling him. As poor as Liverpool have been, he has still been getting chances. He's missed 3 big chances in the last 3 game weeks, only Sterling has had more in that time amongst midfielders. Given their current losing streak at Anfield, and the pressure that has been built around their home form, I actually wonder if they'll find it easier on the road at the moment. Their midweek Champions League clash with Leipzig, where they currently lead by 2 goals on aggregate, will also give them a chance to immediately bounce back from the defeat to Fulham, ahead of Wolves next Monday. Ultimately, it will come down to whether or not Bruno Fernandes is needed for captaincy against West Ham. At the minute, I'm not convinced he is. They're having a great season themselves, and have conceded just 3 goals in their last 4 matches, keeping 2 clean sheets. Only 3 teams have allowed fewer big chances than their 4 in that time. Man United also have important Europa League matches against Milan, either side of that fixture. So currently, I'm thinking that De Bruyne might be a good differential captain this game week, away to Fulham. However, I'm not confident that he starts both of the next 2 matches, so I'd prefer to see his minutes managed against Southampton midweek, to then have confidence in him as a captaincy option for Gameweek 28. If that doesn't happen, if he plays the full game midweek, and looks like a rotation risk ahead of Fulham, then it could be the Belgian who makes way for Bruno Fernandes. But to recap, at the moment I'm hoping to be able to hold off from buying Fernandes back until after blank Gameweek 29. The other ongoing move that again has to be considered, after opting to not make it last game week, is Pope out for Martinez. Things are up in the air with the Aston Villa double game week. There's still a chance of it dropping into Gameweek 28, though that's looking less likely by the second. Another slot it could fall into is Gameweek 30, and ideally I'd like to have details of that double game week confirmed before bringing Martinez in, because his fixture in blank Gameweek 29 in and of itself is away to Spurs, where I don't see much promise of points. So if Aston Villa weren't to get a double game week, it might be a better option to just play Gameweek 29 without a goalkeeper, and instead prioritise making an extra transfer for an outfield player. West Brom have finally started to tighten up under Sam Allardyce, keeping 3 clean sheets in their last 4 matches, and so I'm leaning towards giving Johnston another chance to impress against Crystal Palace this weekend. So if all goes accordingly, the plan is to save the free transfer and then make 3 moves going into Gameweek29 for a 4-point hit. Here's how the team could line up. Nick Pope is an option to use away at Everton, but it's more tempting to stick with Johnston on current form. The Toffees have had 8 big chances in their last 4 matches, while Crystal Palace have fashioned just 2, the lowest in the league. Alongside Cancelo, it's good to have Walker-Peters back as an option ahead of a home meeting with Brighton. They've scored just 2 goals in their last 4 matches. Target faces a Newcastle side with the same record of 2 goals in 4 matches. Only West Brom and Sheffield United have scored fewer. Man City face a Fulham side that have really stepped up their game in recent weeks. They've had the joint best defence over the last 6 matches, along with Chelsea, each shipping just 2 goals. But no team has scored as many goals as the league leaders in that time, with 13. No midfielder has taken more shots than De Bruyne over the last 3 game weeks, while only Rafinha can better his 14 attempted assists. Gundogan has landed 4 shots on target in that time, to rank joint top with Sterling amongst teammates. With Lingard ineligible to face his parent club, it's an easy decision to bring Calvert-Lewin back into the 11. But the Everton forward is without a goal since returning from injury, and in the last 2 game weeks, he's had just 4 shots and 1 big chance, compared to Richarlison's 9 shots and 3 big chances. It's not the best fixture for Bamford, up against a Chelsea side that have kept 4 clean sheets in their last 6 matches. He's bagged just 1 goal in the last 4 game weeks, but only 4 forwards have taken more shots than his 12. But Harry Kane is most definitely a man in form, having picked up 4 goals and 2 assists in 6 matches since returning from injury. No player has landed as many as his 10 shots on target in that time, while only Diane and Werner can better his 6 big chances. The Englishman is an early contender for captaincy, boasting an impressive record in the North London derby. He scored 11 goals in 12 Premier League appearances against Arsenal. The Gunners have failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 6 matches, conceding 8 goals and 10 big chances. However, as mentioned earlier in the video, De Bruyne would be the preferred choice for captaincy if he looks set to start against Fulham. Often that's hard to call with Guardiola, but if De Bruyne has his minutes managed against Southampton, that would be a strong indication. The thinking behind that decision would be that Man City, despite the blip in the Manchester derby, have been on another level in recent months. Yes, the Belgian has looked rusty, but we know his ceiling is high, and he's underperformed his expected goals figure this season by the highest margin of any player. So in a week where captaincy may be split, why not back him to come good, as a differential? However, I can't completely rule out a move to bring Bruno Fernandes in as captain, depending on what happens in those midweek matches in Premier League and Europe.